and I'll share. Let's go. So can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues. And I see we've got fellow students on as well. Welcome, and I'm excited and nervous at the same time, but it gives me great pleasure presenting the research to you today. So just to introduce myself, my name is Tiaan Ekstee. I'm currently in my final year as a master's student of public health at the School of Health Systems and Public Health at the University of Pretoria. I'm also fortunate to work at the school where I mostly do financial management on research projects and the school funding. So not to delay, let's get started with the presentation. Okay, so the title of the study is Student Experiences and Perceptions of Content and Learning Processes during the fully online postgraduate diploma in public health. I am the principal investigator, and then I have two wonderful supervisors. My supervisor is Dr. Sean Patrick, and co-supervisor Prof. Liz Wolfhard. So the next slide presents the outline of the presentation. First, I will provide you with a brief overview of the study and the purpose. Secondly, I will share the methods used in the study. Thirdly, I will share the preliminary results of the study. And finally, I will conclude and share a recommendation or two. So the next slide presents the introduction. So online learning has become vital as the demand for higher education as well as innovative and creative learning opportunities has increased. So offering modules online using technology-assisted learning methods is essential during a time when there's an increasing need to train the next generation of the public health workforce. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is evident that the fully online degrees became much more attractive, and it is essential to maintain students' engagement in the online environment. So the first fully online postgraduate diploma of public health in the School of Health Systems and Public Health at the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Pretoria was launched in May 2020. So the aim of the diploma is to equip public health students with the core competencies required by public health professionals. So it was essential for us to evaluate the students' experiences regarding online learning and to ensure that the program provides the public health students with the optimum learning opportunities. So the next slide presents the aim and objectives. So the aim is to describe the student experiences and perceptions of the content and learning process during the fully online postgraduate diploma. So we have two objectives, and it's to describe the student experiences and also to describe the students' perceptions about the content and the learning process. So the next slide presents the methods used in the study. So as you can see, the study that we used a descriptive cross-sectional study design where we collected data using an online questionnaire which was created by Qualtrics software. So the sample consisted of enrolled students who completed two modules, modules that an available population of 600 students. So the calculated sample, as you can see, was 196 students. So the questionnaire contained 5 variables, which is demographic, education, work experience, motivational program, and competency variables. So with the data analysis, we captured the data using the Qualtrics platform, where the data was exported to Excel at the end. So the next slide presents the preliminary results of the study. So this slide and the next slide is gender and age. So from the calculated sample size of 196 respondents, 75% were female, with an average age of the study population was between 35 and 40 years. The next slide presents the nationality. So the program is fully online, and it uses technology-assisted teaching and learning methods to attract both local and international students with a diverse set of skills. So there is currently no equivalent qualification offered online in Africa. So as you can see from the table, 76% of the respondents are from South Africa. 24% of the respondents are international students, mainly from the African continent. It is important to note here that the results shows that there is international interest in the new fully online program, having the potential to increase global UP's, the University of Pretoria's global economic footprint. So the next slide presents why the students enrolled for the program. So the sorry, I got confused there. So the reasons why students enroll for the program, as you can see from the table, 99% of the respondents enrolled because they have a personal interest in public health. So the majority of respondents also enrolled for the program to upgrade their qualification. So the reason could be linked to job promotion, job requirements, or seeking new career opportunities. We can also note that 90% of the respondents also showed an interest on how to conduct research. So the result shows that respondents' interest in public health was stimulated with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is important to highlight that once again, that the COVID-19 pandemic has made fully online degrees attractive and is essential to maintain students' engagement in the online environment. So the next slide presents students' experience regarding learning support and available resources. So 98% of the respondents agreed that information, learner support, and resources were easily available. So that the majority also agreed that the modules were well organized and easy to navigate. And 87% of the respondents strongly agree that the aesthetic design presents and communicates course information clearly throughout the modules. So the next slide presents the student experiences regarding instructional design and delivery. So 82%, as you can see from the table, agreed that modules offered ample opportunities for interaction and communication. This includes student-to-student interaction and communication, as well as student-to-module coordinator interaction and communication. So we can see that 96% agreed that the learning objectives and activities are clear and well integrated, and that the module outcomes are clear and are aligned with the learning objectives. So 97% of the respondents strongly agreed that the modules provide multiple activities to enhance learning. So lastly, 98% strongly agreed that the module stimulates students' critical and problem-solving skills. So the next slide presents the student experience based on assessment opportunities. So if we look at the graph, we can see that 96% agree that multiple assessment strategies are used to measure the content, the knowledge, and attitudes and skills. So they also agree that learning outcomes are well aligned with instructional and assessment activities. 85% strongly agreed that self-assessment and peer feedback opportunity existed throughout all the modules. The next slide presents the students' experiences learning with technology. So we can see that 96% agree that innovative technology actively engages the students in the learning processes. So they also strongly agreed that the program use a variety of multimedia elements or learning tools to accommodate different learning styles. So the next slide represents the overall student experience. So as you can see from the graph, the overall student experience of the online modules are well received. Respondents strongly agreed that multiple opportunities existed to give feedback on learning technologies. However, 79% suggested that there should be multiple opportunities to give feedback on the module content and the student performance during the online modules. So the next slide represents the conclusion and recommendations. So while there has been a change in the teaching landscape, there is an increased need to enhance the students' cognitive engagement through innovation interaction while keeping the student motivated and promote deep learning. The preliminary result shows that students have a positive experience of the program. However, strategies of feedback for learning and feedback of learning should be explored. That's just my list of references. And thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much, Tiaan, for an insightful presentation. So let's open the floor for any questions. You can just raise your hand and then we can give you a moderator, or we can give you the access so that you will be able to ask your question. I see that Eugenie is asking here, what would you say were some of the, let me just see, where was it again? Sorry. Eugenie, maybe you can just ask your question.
Hi, Tiaan. Thank you very much for that presentation. The visuals were so very strong. I was wondering, from your experience, what were the greatest learning barriers that the students reported experiencing?
I think from the preliminary results, so I haven't looked into that, but what I can pick up is navigation in an online environment. So I think, in my view, some of the students struggled navigating on the platforms. And just like we mentioned, I think the previous presentation, also technology, access to data. I think those would be the greatest challenge, student challenges when it comes to online learning.
Thank you,
I hope that
Tiaan.
answers your question, Eugenie.
Absolutely. And at the moment, what does the program have in place in terms of supporting the students with a navigation challenge?
I must say, the academic staff is doing amazing work creating visuals with videos and tutorials on and we've got a module which is called Learning in Public Health, where they take the students through the online environment, and then with the visuals and everything is put in a dispensary where students can access this later on how to navigate through the program and the different modules.
Thank you, Tiaan.
I see that Prof. Liz has also posted something. Prof. Liz, do you want to tell us?
Yes, thank you, and well done, Tiaan. I know you were very nervous. I don't know why. I'm the program coordinator for the PG DIP, and I think the weakest response we've seen in this preliminary data analysis so far was the discussion around feedback. But that is also a common concern in face-to-face tuition. Students often don't identify feedback as feedback unless it's very clearly labeled. So one of the things we're going to be looking at is to look at where we give feedback. So for example, in discussions, we often make comments and inverted commas do feedback in the threads, but students might not go back to the threads, and so we're starting to think to rather use the functionality that's called feedback to learner. The disadvantage is that the group who's in the thread doesn't see the comment, but the advantage is it is more obvious to the student that this is feedback about, you're making, valuable contributions, but have you thought what is the opposite argument, things like that. The other one is that students often focus on the open comments given rather than popping up the completed rubric. And so we're using a standard at the moment when students query to say, please pop open that rubric and indicate which criterion you don't agree with the tutor or the module coordinator, so we can look at that. And then we normally get back a message, oops, I never looked. So it's this concept about feedback is actually quite complex. Because although it's there, students don't often know or don't access. So that's something we're going to be working on in the upcoming year. And just to thank KUS for their unending support in doing this, because often we're thrown up with something we've never really experienced before, and just to thank them for supporting us through this. Thank you, that's all.